gear, professional fight gear for professional fighters. This bout is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the amateur lightweight division. Making his way into the cage first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist sitting 5 feet 6 inches tall. His weight, 153 pounds. As an amateur, his record is even 1 victory and 1 defeat. From Orange, California, here is Edgar Gonzalez.
And from the best ring announcers in the business, Joe Martinez, to Edgar Gonzalez. He has 1 win, 1 loss as an amateur. He's been training out of Total MMA Studios for about 2 years. He says one thing unique about him, I train with people heavier than me. Well, you don't have a lot of choices when you're the size of Edgar Gonzalez.
Gonzalez 1-1 as an amateur from Total MMA Studios. Something that's odd about him, when asked about something that might be odd about him, he said, I'm actually a nice person. I'm a really nice person.
You know, strangely, it's not that odd in mixed martial arts. I mean, I've met a lot of nice people in this business, a lot of people on the other side as well.
Gonzalez says he prefers to fight on the ground. And another guy who's got an affinity for soccer.
Noticing a theme here, Ron.
Yeah. Something unique about his training, he said he trains most often with people who are heavier than he is.
As I was mentioning before, when you're his size, a lot of times you don't really always have that option.
Yeah. That is true. Gonzalez fighting here.
And across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, a striker and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he too weighs 153 pounds and also brings an even amateur record, 1 victory and 1 defeat. From Thousand Oaks, California, here is Bryan Payan.
Bryan the Blueprint Payan from Gracie, Morumbi. 2 years he's been there so far. The unique thing about how he trains, he says he is not a whiner.
Well, I tell you what, if you're a whiner in certain gyms, you won't be long. The MMA gyms I know well, you don't whine, or they make you stop quick.
Says he prefers to fight standing. We could be looking at a turf war. Gonzalez prefers ground. Payan prefers standing, and he's been boxing since he's 15 years old.
Well, I wonder if there's some gamesmanship being played with Payan being training out of a Gracie Academy, which is obviously Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's been training there 2 years. He says, you can beat anything else. He says Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition, and yet he wants to stay standing. So I'm getting some conflicting reports out of Bryan Payan's stat sheet here, so we'll see what he's going to go with it.
Both guys compete in jiu-jitsu outside of MMA. But again, Payan showing an affinity for the stand-up boxing since he's 15. Gonzalez preferring to fight on the ground. Even though fighters are becoming more and more well-rounded, training for MMA full-on, there is still something in sport called aptitude. You still have something you might be better at, even if you train in everything. Some people are great in music, but they have an aptitude for a certain instrument. So we're looking at what could be a classic turf war of preference. One guy wants to fight standing because he's better, even though he's on the ground as well, and he's proficient. The other one's more proficient on the ground, even though he can handle himself on his feet. It becomes a battle of wills, which a lot of times is what drives the fight more than anything.
And a lot of times you want to adjust your strategy to your opponent. Let's say you're mostly a ground guy, but so is your opponent. When you're standing somewhere better, you'll revert to your number 2. That's the intricacies of mixed martial arts. It's so much fun to watch and commentate.
3 2-minute rounds scheduled. Amateurs here, once again, under the rules of the California Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Organization, also known as CAMO. Gonzalez in the blue.
Gonzalez on 2
with a nice head kick.
That 4th kick he had to pay for. Payan took it down. It's a standard issue takedown off a leg kick for a wrestler. Shoot that leg kick, you grab it, driving for a double. Payan's on top and in the guard. Edgar Gonzalez.
Payan, the blueprint. He almost shot into a knee too. Gonzalez was throwing a knee follow-up shot. At the same time he was shooting in, and he almost ate it.
See Gonzalez doing a good job of swiveling his hips back and forth, going for the armbar. Payan being wise to it, is able to pass as a result. Now in the side mount of Edgar Gonzalez.
So far, the boxer from the age of 15, Payan, is in top position, but he is on the ground, and that is Gonzalezville, last we checked. So it's interesting, he's where his opponent wanted to fight, but he's in the dominant position at that point so far. Unless, of course, Gonzalez is able to pull off the submission here, which he's capable of at any time. And there you go.
It's oftentimes the risks you take for trying to advance position. It opens you up for a sweep or a submission. And Payan, he paid for it.
Yeah, Gonzalez now showing us why he wants that fight to be on the ground. It's interesting when you have an ebb and flow where you have control and dominant position and everything switching back and forth in a 2-minute round because it makes it really hard.
Good pound here by Gonzalez.
Hammer fist.
Payan's trying for an armbar. He might have it. And a slams his way out of it.
Sometimes that tightens the hold. In that case, it did not. And Gonzalez trying to go back to work now.
Tough round to score, back and forth. We got the takedown by Gonzalez early. He was on top for a while. He advanced to mount, gave that up to get swept.
I'll tell you what I know, and I'll tell you what I don't know. I don't know who won that round, but I do know I enjoyed it.
So far in the opening 2 fights, we've seen a lot of back and forth in position. Something you see a lot in amateur mixed martial artists, they get really excited. They get really, they're going after it so hard that a lot of times, opens the way for mistakes and holes. So you see a lot of sweeps, a lot of changing of position, which in turn causes a lot of momentum changes in the fight, which makes for a fun fight.
It really does. I just think it's got to be something to turn the hairs on the heads of the judges gray by the end of the fight, because when you have that many position changes and stuff, they have to be paying attention with the utmost of their potential, because if you don't keep track, it's hard to tell who's winning the fight.
I'm sure judges would like to see just a cookie cutter round each and every time, but
I'll tell you something else that's a staple of Bamma Productions right there. Bamma USA Alpha Fight League. You had 2 guys in there who knew. They knew what their job description was. They came in, and they fought. Second round, 3 2-minute rounds scheduled. And if we're lucky, we'll get another 2 rounds of what we just saw. Nice kick by Gonzalez. 2 kicks by Gonzalez, and then Payan.
And again, another double leg takedown by Payan.
Takes down the guy with the ground preference, does Payan. Payan in the red, Gonzalez in the blue.
High guard!
And again now, looking for the closed guard of Gonzalez. Payan looking to make something happen here.
Gonzalez has got that overhook with his left arm, controlling the posture and the right arm of Payan. A lot of times you see this as a position to get a triangle. If he can trap the left arm of Payan, he can do that. But it's also keeping Payan from posturing up and throwing down really damaging blows.
So far, Gonzalez doing a great job of not eating a lot of shots from the bottom. You're not seeing a lot of ground and pound coming from Payan here.
And Payan isn't really initiating a lot either. He seems to be pretty content on top.
What do you think he's thinking right now? Is he looking for something? Do you think he's setting up?
I think Payan is comfortable. He's settling. He knows he's winning the round if he's on top, so he's throwing a couple chip shots here and there. Gonzalez is trying to control the posture, not get hit, and he's doing a good job of that, but he's also losing the round. I mean, getting double overs like that, like he has 2 overhooks in both his arms and keep him from taking damage, but you're going to lose the round. So Gonzalez, they're both pretty content with this position in the show.
And that's interesting too, because that's when the half-point system comes in too.
And now Payan finally unloaded at the end to probably sway the round a little bit more in favor for him. Again, it's no longer, like we talked about, Tama has the 0.5 scoring system. It's no longer a nip-tuck round. It's like, okay, I won that round, I'll settle. You want to get that extra 0.5, or you want to make sure you don't lose that extra 0.5. So the game plan is a little bit different here with the scoring system.
Yeah, and if you have judges that are savvy and they see someone trying to set up a sweep or do something, and they score it as a nuance of something that somebody's doing offensively that deserves to be scored on the half point, and then you have someone like in the case where Payan is in top position and you said he seemed content even though he wasn't initiating much, that subtlety could be the difference between him losing or having the round get tied.
Yeah, again, it's you have as if mixed martial arts wasn't a chess match enough. Now you have this extra wrinkle
point,
with the 1.5 scoring system.
Maybe we can have a 900 number go up with the crowd vote too after that.
Text in.
Text in
You
like
vote the
American
winner.
Idol.
To be honest, sometimes that would be better than some of the judging decisions we've seen over the years.
I hate the fact that I agree with that. Third of 3 rounds, 2 minutes apiece. And again, the pacing difference and some of the differences in the amateur side, 3 rounds adding up to just a minute more than 1 pro round. So you've got a short window of time to do your work. And you see Gonzalez leading with a kick in the blue. Payan counters that with a right hand. Almost lands clean. Payan in the red. You get the sense that Payan, with the boxing pedigree he has, you can see it in flashes. He just doesn't get a chance to unload it enough, and then for some reason he shoots in to take Gonzalez to the ground, which you wouldn't expect.
I think the kicks of Gonzalez are throwing Payan off a little bit. He doesn't really seem to have an answer for the kicks of Gonzalez. And that's his answer, a takedown.
Well, I mean, it takes the kicks out of the equation, but it takes 15 years, 16 years old starting as a boxer up to however old he is now.
And again, it's amateur. Maybe as an amateur, he says, all right, I'm in this opening fight. This is my 3rd professional fight. I'm going to work on my wrestling and my ground and pound. And that's the luxury you have as an amateur fighter, where your record won't hurt you moving on to your pro career. As soon as you become pro, you might as well not have it. So he has the luxury of saying, all right, maybe today I'm just going to work on my top game and ground and pound.
Payan looking to put Gonzalez up against the cage, but now he's looking to not get submitted by an arm bar. You see the high guard of Gonzalez. He was trying to control that left arm of Payan. You see he's still holding on to that wrist, but now Payan making him pay for it a little bit. Some ground and pound could equal things out a little bit, can it? That will level the playing field a little bit.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Gonzalez here trapping that right arm, and that's stifling Payan a little bit. He's still able to land a couple punches with his left arm. But we're seeing kind of a mirror image of the 2nd round.
A little bit more of the hammering down there with shots from Payan. Then you see him kind of move to the side.
And so the triangle, kind of the half-hearted triangle attack by Gonzalez cost him his
knees now. Payan giving some knees to the back.
No knees to the spine, professional or amateur mixed martial arts.
Good technique right there. You saw Payan put his knee and free his arm. Gonzalez, and that's 3 in the books.
Payan walks away, arms held high.
And there you see the sportsmanship of mixed martial arts, I'll say on every broadcast, more than you'll see probably in any other sport right here. When the event is done, when the fight is over, you're seeing some of the most honorable athletes competing in anything, anywhere.
Well, any sport where you put so much into training, you know that your opponent probably did something similar, and you appreciate that. You say, wow, this guy, if he went through something that I went through, this guy's a tough SOB and he deserves my respect.
You're watching Bamma USA. This is the Alpha Fight League amateur division of the card tonight. Sanctioned again by the California Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Organization. And Camo came onto the scene not too long ago. Amateur's still fairly new in California.
Professional's fairly new in California, only around about 5 years or so.
But I mean, it seems like Camo is just spread like wildfires, and that's, I hate to use that term working in Southern California where I've actually seen wildfire. But it is really, it's really taken root. You know, a lot of promoters and promotions are hopping on board, and if it's done the right way, amateur can be a great thing. You get the guys some experience, get the learning curve out of the way when it's not on your permanent record, so to speak, as a pro.
Well, it's a good structured way to develop talent. I mean, for the longest time, asking the old school fighters, you see a lot of fighters running around here. You know, there was no such thing as amateur when they got started. It was right into pro, and even then there was no sanctioned professional bouts in California. They had to do it on Indian reservations or illegally or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times it stifles the development of talent. If there's no direct path to success for you to follow and either fail or succeed over that path, you're just adding more complication to an already complicated journey.
I'd like to take a moment right now to shout out to one of the finest trainers from Millennia MMA, Batiste, Missouri, is watching us right now from New Mexico. He just texted me. And I believe any text message I get after this is going to put me over my minutes. So no, I'm just kidding.
We'll send you a bill, Batiste.
Millennia MMA, if you're in MMA and you don't know Millennia MMA, you're not in MMA. It's one of the finest facilities and multiple facilities now.
And here are the judges' totals. 29-29 even. 29 and a half to 28 and a half. And 30-27, your winner by majority decision. From the blue corner, Edgar Gonzalez.
Gonzalez wins, and wow, you talked about before about the voting in on the scoring thing like American Idol. You had 29-29 and you had 30-27.
That's what we're talking about. A lot of people like to say, well, certain referees have different, or excuse me, certain judges have different angles. Maybe they see things different. Honestly, a lot of times